I tested out Qingyi to see just how good she actually is. If you aren't familiar with her, she's our newest electric stunner, and she's part of the Criminal Investigation Special Response Team, aka she's the police. To be clear, today's content, fights, and thoughts originate from the creator beta server, so keep this in mind when you see this footage. But before we get into my impressions and what Qingyi's strengths and weaknesses are, make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe for more ZenlessZoneZero content. Let's get into it. So as an overview for Qingyi, as you see, she's a stunner, she's electric, and that means in most cases you'll be pairing her with a hyper carry or a damage dealer who can make use of stun and wants to line up their burst damage when the enemy is stunned. This is the case for a lot of crit characters including Soldier 11, Ellen, and especially since Qingyi is also electric, in this case maybe even Anton. Now to kind of break down what her game plan is or how she plays, she kind of feels exactly as you might expect. She's designed to stun, and at times she definitely does do that while also boasting a decent amount of damage because of some of her skills and the way that her core skill passive works. But something we'll have to look into later is whether her additional abilities, additional attack, is actually worth taking another police character or whether it's worth it for you to take another attack type character, both of which feel kind of weird if you're trying to play Qingyi as a DPS specifically. However, we're not only talking about DPS Qingyi here, and if you're just trying to play her as a stunner, the additional attack that you have from taking an attack type character is actually kind of nice when you're trying to squeeze out a little bit more damage on a stunner as opposed to a true DPS. But now it's time we talk about her strengths. So the first one I want to bring up is the fact that, as I'm sure you could probably tell at this point, she's extremely mobile. There are lots of enemies in this game that kind of punish you for not being able to dodge or for when you feel very slow and sluggish, especially sometimes with characters like Sokaku, but that's definitely not the case for Qingyi. This mobility definitely lets you maneuver around or crowd control or group and clump enemies together, which is a huge thing that you need to keep in mind whenever you're doing content like Shiyu defense. But that also leads us into our next section. In case you don't want to clump, or in case if you aren't fighting multiple enemies, she actually stuns very quickly. Now of course this is always helpful if you're trying to one-shot enemies or if you're trying to get rid of small mobs before you start dealing damage to the boss, but this also means that her generation of stun against the boss is also quite high. Now this will obviously vary based on the attributes of the character you're fighting against, and in some cases will also depend on how much you've invested in your Qingyi, but from what I've seen so far, the stun is absolutely lethal. Now on a similar note, something that's also very funny about Qingyi is that not only does she stun pretty quickly, she also applies anomaly very fast as well. Now if you are planning on using her alongside someone like Soldier 11 so you can proc disorder or start getting more attribute anomalies procced on the enemy constantly, this could be super helpful. But in all honesty, one of the biggest strengths that I guess you can't really count as a strength, but I think is worth mentioning when it comes to Qingyi, is that she's actually just one of the most fun characters I've ever seen to play. You constantly feel like you're in the Matrix or you're blocking, parrying 1,000 bullets all at the same time. And truthfully, that's a good thing. It feels quite fun to play like that. Okay, so this time around, we're gonna try and beat the Shiyu defense with Qingyi as a main DPS. I'm just curious if maybe Sokaku's attack and Lycon's stun multiplier will make her feel good. Let's see. Oh my god, I forgot it's one of these. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Lycon and Sokaku are honestly really OP, so it should be fine, right? Just wait. Okay, the perfect moment. Wait, I need to go back to the leg. Ooh. Oh. Wow, we got to stunning quite quickly, actually. All right, here we go. Qingyi made DPS. Oh. Okay, there's a couple 18,000s in there, I think. That was not very Oh. Okay, truthfully, that looked okay, I am trying to use her as a main DPS, which does look a little bit. Oh, that's pretty good. That was a 68,000 disorder. Maybe it's disorder. Is disorder what I have to do with her? Okay. Let's see. How much damage does Qingyi's ult do? Okay, I saw some life there. Like a 22 or so thousand amount of damage. Okay, so like even fully committed as a DPS, she's only doing around 7,000 to 8,000 damage. Now again, compared to some of the other characters, You know what I mean? Like, man, Jiyuan was really crazy in comparison. But of course, I guess this is roughly what someone like Lycone or Kaleda would be doing too. Oh, it feels so bad. It feels like she was supposed to be an attack character. Like, look at this. Doesn't seeing this kind of scream, oh man, I'm an attack character? I guess she also kind of reminds me of an AoE stunner, I guess, but like look at how crazy this is. This looks like the perfect attack pattern. So same as the other stunners, she kind of just sets you straight up into it, huh? Oh my gosh, I did a lot of damage to this guy. Wait. Can we get a stun? Okay. Could have just been an ad difference though. Could have just been an ad. Could have just been the fact that it was lesser or weaker. Oh. Okay. All right. That did a lot of damage, but she's electric. She's got a bit of damage and she's pretty high level. It's a low level mob. Okay, for my final test, I'm going to see if running a level 70 Dullahan is something that would be a little bit difficult. Maybe the characters I just fought against were too weak. They just took too much damage. What does it look like if I fight against a fully souped up Dullahan? Oh, got no energy. Oh. Use my bullets. Oh, she's stunned. Dude, she does stun pretty fast. I mean, I was doing a lot of chain attacks there, but like... Okay, we might have to test it with someone that isn't Jiyuan, because Jiyuan basically one-shots them as soon as they get down for the first time. So this time, we won't have the super OP Jiyuan. Let's try Ellen. Is it any different? Is she also just as OP? Oh. Okay, we got Sukaku going. Wow, in 2 rotations, we get... Wow, in 2 rotations, we can force a stun on Dullahan? That is crazy. Okay, so like in terms of how long it takes to get her to stun, her stun is definitely very quick. It's definitely comparable to the other stunners, but it feels like she just has a little bit of damage also just baked into her kit when you're committing to impact. She's a load of fun to play though. It pretty much just sit there, blast 100 times, you know, poke everyone in the butt with like her stick, and then all of a sudden they're stunned and they're getting bent over by Ellen. So like, I don't know. Okay, now as a final test, I'm really curious about what's going on when it comes to the stats that I found and the damage I'm doing. So I decided, why not just try and solo everything and see if I could clear some content in the Shiyu defense with just Qingyi alone. Who knows? Oh. Oh. Wow, that's doing a lot of damage actually. I mean, it looks pretty good. Oh, he's impaired. Okay. Wait, before the stun wears out? Wow, we're almost gonna clear this within 2 minutes? Oh my god, wait, with what health? No. Okay, so with about 2 minutes and 13 seconds and 162 health, I cleared it with just Qingyi, no Bangbu, no nothing. That's kind of crazy considering she's not committed to a DPS right now. But it's time we talk about her weaknesses, because honestly, that's kind of an issue. Now, this is going to sound a little bit weird considering what I listed as her strengths, but a lot of the strengths that I mentioned are also kind of double-edged swords, and I'll explain why. Now, the first strength that I mentioned is her being very mobile, and in most cases this is extremely helpful and very good, but there are definitely times where as you're swapping between characters, or if the enemy knocks you over, or depending on what attack you're in the middle of doing, there are times that this mobility will actually displace you far enough that you aren't able to continue hitting the boss, or it'll put you in the middle of an explosion and you get hit anyways. Granted, you could argue this is skill issue, but let's move on to the next one, which is, well, she applies anomaly fast. Now, the thing about this is that quick anomaly application is normally really good, and applying more electric or applying more fire in 99.99% of cases is very good, right? Well, kind of, except if you're using a specific elemental set, in which case it actually hurts if you proc disorder, especially if you're trying to take advantage of something like Thundering Metal's additional attack increase, or something like the 4-piece effect from Chaotic Metal, which reads that when any character in the squad triggers Corruption's additional damage, this effect further increases by 5.5% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. Now, what this basically means is that you have to be fighting against someone that's corrupted, and if for whatever reason you end up proccing disorder or you overriding the corruption with your shock, this means that you immediately lose a decent amount of value from your set. Now, this of course is not that big a deal if you just farm out another set. However, it is something to consider and is actually something that you need to play around or consider when you're building out your characters and choosing out your team compositions. Now, truthfully, depending on which enemy or boss you're fighting, her damage can be decent, but it's honestly not enough to actually justify being a damage dealer, although she definitely does do a lot more damage than the other stun characters, and that's saying something. Whether you choose to build her as a damage dealer or not will kind of depend on your team composition and who you end up using alongside her, but I will say that playing her as a damage dealer was definitely fun. Now, beyond the strengths and weaknesses, the truth is that overall I think she's a very fun character, but you have to keep in mind that truthfully there isn't that much difference between Qingyi and someone like Ambi. If you do like Qingyi and you're someone that really appreciates all the stunning, all the electric anomaly that she can apply, or if you just really like her design, I can understand why you would specifically want to pull for Qingyi. But in terms of her actual kit, a lot of her kit ends up being focused on dealing stun or focusing on impact, while also being rewarded with a bit of damage on the side. To be clear, if they end up designing harder and harder content and we end up fighting stronger and stronger bosses, I can definitely see how having more damage on your stunner or your secondary slash third characters on a team would be very important. However, as it stands right now, for the current stages of Shiyu defense and for most of the content that exists in the game right now, it doesn't really feel like there's a great reason for you to need Qingyi over someone like Ambi, especially when you're able to clear most of the content anyways. That's going to be it for this video though, guys. Thank you again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you did, make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. Make sure to check out the rest of my socials. Thank you again for Hoyoverse for letting me do this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night.